In recent days, Trump has appeared increasingly agitated, lashing out at critics, judges, journalists, and even members of his own party, as warnings grow louder that the United States could be pushed toward an illegal or unauthorized military conflict. What was once dismissed as political rhetoric is now being described by legal experts and foreign policy analysts as a dangerous escalation, with potentially irreversible consequences. Observers say Trump's recent public behavior signals a loss of control under mounting pressure. During rallies and media appearances, he has repeatedly hinted at the use of military force without clear congressional approval, framing it as strength, while dismissing constitutional limits as obstacles created by what he calls the deep state. These remarks have triggered alarm bells across the political spectrum, especially among lawmakers who argue that any military action without authorization would violate both U.S. law and international agreements. Legal scholars have been quick to point out that the U.S. Constitution clearly grants Congress the sole power to declare war. While presidents have historically pushed the boundaries of this authority, critics argue that Trump's language suggests a willingness to bypass legal frameworks entirely. Former defense officials warn that such actions could expose U.S. military personnel to legal risk and undermine America's standing on the world stage. The concern is not hypothetical, they say, but rooted in Trump's past record of impulsive decision-making. Behind the scenes, reports indicate intense panic within political and diplomatic circles. Career officials are said to be scrambling to assess worst-case scenarios, including retaliatory strikes, economic collapse, and international isolation. Allies who once relied on American stability are reportedly uneasy, questioning whether the United States can still be trusted to follow international law. One senior diplomat described the situation as a slow-motion crisis unfolding in real time. Trump's response to these concerns has only added fuel to the fire. Instead of reassuring the public, he has doubled down, accusing critics of being weak, unpatriotic, or corrupt. In one recent outburst, Trump reportedly shouted that he alone understands power and that hesitation is what makes America vulnerable. Such statements, analysts say, are not only reckless but deeply destabilizing, especially at a time when global tensions are already high. The media reaction has been swift and unforgiving. Cable news hosts, legal analysts, and former intelligence officials have openly questioned Trump's fitness to make decisions involving war and peace. Several commentators noted that his increasingly erratic tone mirrors moments in history when leaders, facing personal or political collapse, turned to military escalation as a distraction. While supporters dismiss these comparisons as fear-mongering, critics insist the pattern is impossible to ignore. International law experts have also weighed in, emphasizing that any preemptive or unilateral military action without a clear threat or international mandate could be classified as illegal under international law. Such a move, they warn, would set a dangerous precedent, encouraging other nations to act similarly. The long-term damage to global norms could be severe, weakening the very rules designed to prevent large-scale conflict. Within Trump's own political circle, cracks are beginning to show. A small but growing number of Republican lawmakers have expressed unease, carefully distancing themselves from his rhetoric. While few are willing to confront him directly, anonymous sources suggest internal discussions are growing more urgent. The fear, they say, is not just political fallout, but the real-world consequences of an unplanned military escalation. Public reaction has been equally divided. Supporters cheer Trump's aggressive posture, viewing it as a sign of strength and decisive leadership. Critics, however, see something far more troubling. A leader under immense pressure, reacting emotionally and willing to gamble with lives to maintain relevance and control. Protests and online campaigns calling for restraint and accountability have gained momentum, reflecting widespread anxiety about what comes next. History looms large over this moment. Past conflicts launched without proper authorization have resulted in prolonged wars, massive loss of life, and decades of instability. Veterans groups have spoken out, urging leaders to remember the human cost of war beyond political headlines. One former service member stated bluntly that wars are not slogans or applause lines, but lifelong trauma carried by those sent to fight. As pressure mounts, institutions designed to act as safeguards are being tested. Courts, Congress, and the press are all facing the same question. Can they restrain a powerful figure who appears increasingly dismissive of legal and ethical boundaries? The answer, many fear, will define not only this political era, but the future of American democracy itself. In the final analysis, this is about more than Donald Trump. It is about whether the rule of law can withstand the strain of personal ambition and political chaos. The warnings are clear, the stakes could not be higher, and the world is watching closely. Whether this moment ends in restraint or reckless escalation may depend on how quickly accountability is enforced and how firmly democratic principles are defended. For now, the situation remains volatile. Trump continues to lash out, critics continue to sound the alarm, and the possibility of an illegal war hangs like a dark cloud over an already fractured political landscape. The coming days may prove decisive, not just for American politics, but for global stability itself.